Okay, so we're doing a bit of a spring cleaning. So you can see an entire driveway without 5 cars in it. It's because one of the cars is back there. 2 of them are right here. And the Porsche is finally back in the garage. So this, we have been very excited to get started on. We crashed it back at Bristol. Kind of see the front end here. It's a little bit loose, a little bit scratched, but the bad part is the frame back here. Now visually, you don't notice it immediately, but when you start measuring stuff, its frame's kind of bent. Up here you can tell that is at an angle. It is supposed to be straight. So suspension's f***ed, frame is f***ed. Everything needs to be redone. So our plan is cut off the back half, build a whole new car.
We have ideas, we have plans, we've got hypotheses about things we want to do.
One thing we want to do is actually extend the wheelbase a bit, because you can see right now, engine cuts off right here. Right here is where you sit. It's all packaged very tightly, so we're thinking extend it a little bit, move the engine back. We may, no promises, but part of the wish list is to go to a 6-speed so we don't have to worry about these transmissions anymore, but that entirely comes down to money.
This one doesn't have third gear. In fact, this one hasn't had third gear in a very long time. It's been almost a year.
Yeah, no, losing third gear, that one's on me. We were at the track and I fucked up my downshift. I didn't bring up the revs, and because it's a single mass flywheel, unsprung clutch, R888Rs, welded diff, very aggressive clutch setup. It just snapped third gear on the downshift. It is so on the edge of what this transmission can handle. A 6-speed would just be peace of mind. But that's all for later. Main thing is, back half of this car is getting cut off. And yeah, I've been really excited to get started on this because I got some new tools to play with. Got some ideas in my head. I would like to do a push rod suspension setup. Been reading on how you do the geometry for all that stuff. So we're sitting here thinking of ideas, stuff that we want to do. So things that have to be done. Because of the damage on the front end, we actually cracked the stock radiators, which they said here and here. No. And then you know we have that third radiator that's sitting under the hood right there. So we're actually going to be getting rid of these two and probably just get a bigger one to put in here. So even though we're rebuilding the back half of the car, going to be work on the front too. And also, with the whole engine coming back, one thing we were actually thinking would be kind of cool would be to flip this right way around again, because if you don't know, we have it on backwards. That just makes a match, no problem. But figure if we flip that around again and then cut a hole in the firewall for the intake to go through, so that you have the intake sitting like right here. I think for the noise when you're driving it, having that intake right next to you would be beautiful. Because that's the main thing with this car. It's not necessarily the fastest thing, but we want this to be an experience. We want it to be scary. So whatever we can do to enhance that. Also, I've been wanting to do some custom headers on this for a while. Still debating on 180 degree or 8-into-1. Don't know yet. I think it's going to come down to how everything gets packaged as we build the new frame. But, you know, who knows? We, as usual, we tend to make this up as we go. And then whatever comes at the end, it's what we're left with. Now, step one to getting everything done. What we're going to need to do is get the car up in the air and have a way to move it around when there's, you know, no back half of the car on there. So, got some steel bar, and we got us a bandsaw. So all I'm going to do is basically cut a rectangular frame, get that all welded up, and then I got some casters. These guys right here. These rated all together for 3,000 pounds, so plenty for the Porsche. And then basically going to build a little dolly that the whole Porsche is going to sit on, and probably going to weld it to it also, so we don't have to worry about it moving, because the idea is get the dolly perfectly squared to the car, so that way once all this is gone and we need to start measuring stuff, make sure it's straight, make sure it's level with the car, we then have very easy edge that we can use to make all those measurements and to mock things up. Like, kind of thinking that we may end up mocking up the engine mounts off of this bar to have the engine sitting there while we build all the frame and stuff around it. With these cut out, now we're going to weld them together, and obviously this frame needs to be pretty damn perfect in terms of how square it is, because I'm going to use it in all references for how we build this. Far from my best work, but it'll be good enough. I actually ended up having it set a little too hot. Melted the hell out of it right there. I had to grind that flat and do it again. No big deal. Yeah, so this is going to be the frame that I'm now going to mount casters to, that this will then be sitting on. So 2x2, 1/8 inch mild steel. I think that should be plenty to hold it. 4 wheels on this thing, and it did come with bolts to both of this, but as you can see, the thing's kind of wider than these bars. Now, I could have cut some extra metal, put like some plates on the corners, and then bolted them to the plates, but that's a lot more work than just, you know, zapping it in place. So, there we go. You can see, it's not level in this way, but that really doesn't matter, because once the weight of the car is on it, it'll bend that straight. What's important is the squareness of it. So, here, see, the base, yeah, exactly 80. Over to the other end, dead on. And I believe width-wise, it's supposed to be 35. So, stop rolling. 35. And 35. So yeah, I mean, square enough. Obviously you could bring out the micrometers and stuff to get dead accurate, but for what we're doing, I think that's good enough. Now the interesting part will be how the hell do we get the car on it? Oh yeah. How about that? You can see how not level our garage is. The whole car up on top of its dolly, and I mean, it is not very hard at all to push around. Holy crap, that's cool. Oh my god, it's gonna be a while before I get tired of this. I managed to get this frame centered up really damn close. I mean, like, going back and forth, I was using the factory pinch welds, to kind of get my center. And I mean, I was within probably like an eighth of an inch, less than that. Thinking once we get the engine and stuff out and we can manipulate it a bit easier, we'll sit there, tap it back and forth, really get that thing dialed in. And once we have it perfectly centered, I'm going to put some tack welds between it and the car. That way it won't move. Fact of the matter is that this is going to be apart and on here for probably the next couple months. Lots of very tedious stuff. Gonna really have to take our time and measure twice, then measure again. It's gonna just be slow work because we really need to make sure that we do this right. Not just because we want the car to perform well, but also because this is a track car that we take up to high speed. And we don't have a roof, and no, we do not plan on putting a roof on. That is this stupid high main hoop from the roll bar. It's kind of grown on us. It's part of the car's character. We do think we're gonna do door bars, and may do like a bar that goes from here to here. I'm not a big fan of the idea, but ultimately, if it's in the pursuit of making this thing more rigid, and probably be worth it. Hey, yeah, here we are. Car is now able to do that. And oh my god, that is too fun. There's one thing we're good at. Might not be working quickly, but it is getting the job done. And believe me, we will get this done, and we are excited to share the journey with you. So, like, subscribe, show it to your friends. We're gonna make a cool car.